سلام کل سکسی من، خیلی خوش اومدی به ویدیو. من اسم اکسور هستم و امروز با یه ویدیو خیلی قشنگ و جذاب اومدم پیشتون. امروز یه ویدیویی که میخوام بهتون نشون بدم از موجودات عجیب و خارق‌العاده، چی بهتون بگم، خارق‌العاده ترسناک کف اقیانوسه. اگه این ویدیو دوست داری حتما لایک، کامنت، سابسکرایب نره و اینکه اون زنگولش هم بزن بدون مطمئن داخل این چه کرده اکسور. لیتس گو.
زامبی ستارفیش.
بله، زامبی استارفیش. اینا که عادیه، من دیده بودم 5 یا 6 تا اینا کلا چیش میگم پا دارن، دست و پا دارن، بیشتر که نداشته باشن. ولی اینو نگاه، 24 تا دست داره. بله، یه ستاره دریایی زامبیه. خیلی رنگ مختلف هم داره، رنگ‌های مختلف در همه رنگ‌ها و ابعاد مختلف. آره، فقط 5 تا دست داره که حالا نمی‌کشه اونجا 6 تا داشته. چجوریه این داستانشون؟ 24 تا.
And when on the prowl for food, the sunflower star swings along on its 15,000 tube feet, moving at the remarkable speed of just over see with their own legs. Each limb has an eye spot that's sensitive to light. Their tube feet have a powerful grip.
چند تا از اینجا بشمار: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 تا فقط یه دونه داره که خبره نمیدونم.
Often struggle to break free. They can also spit out their own stomach, wrap it around
their
prey, dissolve it, and then digest it. These creatures can swallow an entire
اینا به این عظمت ستاره دریاییه. اینا دست و پاهاشن.
But even more terrifying is the damage it does itself. Some of these starfish have been known to literally pull off their own arms.
بعضی از ستاره دریایی دست پاشون رو قطع میکنن خودشون.
These arms eventually take on a life of their own.
و این یه دونه برای خودش زندگی داره. هر کدوم از این دست و پا که قطع بشه، نمیدونم فقط واسه این زامبیاس اینجوریه یا بقیه‌شون هم اینجوریه، ولی خب هر کدوم که قطع بشه زندگی خودشون رو دارن. این خودشون یه ستاره دریایی هست.
You can creepily see the leg crawling away from the body. Don't forget each leg has its own eye, so you can see
چشمم دارن.
See where you're going. The limbs become zombie-like and drift through the sea. The animal mutation is going.
این چیه نمیدونم، ولی میدونم که این یه دهنش اینجاست. پستونه یا ممس. I don't know. این چیه نمیدونم چیه.
Let's unpack this image together. We're seeing a fish head with sharp, jagged teeth. Then there's the disturbingly bulbous human-like body complete.
واسبینا این دسته، این سره، این شکم ها نافشه. این واقعیه.
With arms and a flabby gut. The lower half of this mystery deep sea creature appears to have scales.
هم داره یا مثل از این داستیه بهشون میگفتن کارتون مارتونش هم ساختن. اسمش نمیاد ولی خب همون زی
like a fish. Are you as confused as we are? This can't possibly be some sort of mer creature like a mermaid for example. Some folks who have come across this curious
این واسم خیلی سوال بود این واقعا.
We'll explain.
از اینا از اسم اینو دیدم نمیاد دیگه چیه نکن. از اینا
Japanese for human fish with both human and fish-like features.
از اینا
mythical mermaids of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, Ningyo from the Pacific Ocean and the Sea of Japan are hideous to behold. Instead of seductive sirens, they're otherworldly nightmares. They're more fish than human. And they can have anything from ugly deformed faces to entire human torsos with long.
ما از این خوشگلاش داشتیم، خانمای خوشگل که پاشون مثل پاهاشون مثل ماهی بود. اسمش نمیدونم چه اسمی داره.
Fingers and sharp claws, and they can range in size from a human child to a large seal. Ningyo sightings go back to the earliest written histories of Japan. The first recorded mermaid sightings in Japan are found in one of the oldest books of classical Japanese history, dating back to the 6th century.
سه نسلیش 3 قرن پیش چیزی میگه که توی یه کتاب قدیمی ژاپناست این داستان این چیزا اینا.
They exist today in the deep sea somewhere. It looks like
میگه تا الان وجود داره و یه جایی هم هست.
Comment below with the hashtag sweet topic armored sea robin.
Armored sea robin چی هست نمیدونم.
Next creature is the armored sea robin.
چیزایی که این شاپرک میمونه این پروانه میمونه چیه بال داره. I don't know.
Which is one of the few creatures on Earth to have its own natural armor. The armor is the natural 4 rows of bony plates along its body. This fish simply walks along the seafloor by using its fin rays. It has a dark
کف چیزم میگرده. کف اقیانوس هم فقط میره.
They also have barbels coming out of their mouths, which help them to sense food. Perhaps most striking.
یه چیز داره این سیبیل میبیله گربه مربه که غذا رو باش پیدا میکنه توی کف دریا.
Is the fact that it has an incredibly huge head but a small body. The fish
کله بزرگ
in
و
the deepest parts of the ocean.
بدن خیلی کوچیک.
Coming up for contact with humans. They normally are found in tropical waters, particularly off the coast of Costa Rica. Because these creatures are so elusive, that's just about as much as we know. We don't even roughly know the numbers of how many of these are. That being said, it does occasionally get caught in the nets.
راه میره. این با اینا راه میره. پا داره. شنا نمیکنه راه میره.
A deep sea fishing trawler, but the fish don't make good food either, as their bony bodies mean there's not a lot of meat on these little fellas. What would be your response if you found one of these goofy-looking guys on your sinister siphonophore? Our next creature looks like a spaghetti monster. As you may be aware, there's a Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, which was created to poke fun at religion. They jokingly said that they worshipped a flying spaghetti monster. But this idea isn't as bizarre as it seems. This fish certainly looks like a spaghetti monster, albeit not flying. These creatures are difficult to find. Recent footage was taken off the coast of Angola by offshore oil workers. This footage was taken 4,000 feet under the sea. The strangest thing about these creatures is that it's not even one single fish. Instead of one big spaghetti monster, what you're actually looking at is an entire colony of corals and jellyfish working together as a tandem unit. So similarly to a colony of ants, these creatures are all working together and behave as if they're a singular organism. Nothing emphasizes the phrase stronger teeth than the siphonophore. These fish alone would be hunted within an instant if they were caught swimming on their own, but when they present themselves as these huge spaghetti monsters, other fish might think twice before going near them. So, which is scarier? The idea that this was one big monster, or the fact that it's thousands of different creatures all working together? Deep hysteria. And it wouldn't be a proper list of monsters without at least one jellyfish. Our next creature is the deep hysteria, which is an incredibly surreal looking jellyfish. In fact, it's so surreal looking that it's difficult to describe. The website Nerdist thinks it kind of looks like a ghost of a plastic bag lined with a network of vessels. Other online commenters have compared them to the ghosts you see in Batman. But that doesn't even fully describe this fish, as it's also a shapeshift transformed from its ghost plastic bag form to something which looks more like a lava lamp. It was once mistaken by the internet as whale placenta. Researchers who call it simply flattens and expands. Marine biologists studying them in southwest Baker Island said, "I think it's any size it wants to be." One of the strangest things about these creatures is their lack of stinging tentacles. Instead of stinging its prey, it simply traps them inside its balloon-shaped body.
میگه که این غذاش حالا هم ماهی هر چیزی دیگه است میره داخل هم اونجا گیر میکنه دیگه میمونه اونجا.
Another strange thing about these creatures is that isopods sometimes live inside these bags and are therefore protected from other predators. This fish has only been discovered in the 1960s, and since then it's only been spotted a couple of times. They're usually found in the Pacific, Antarctic, and Mexican Gulf. Thankfully, they stay 3,000 feet below the ocean. It's difficult to find out any information on how powerful its sting is to humans. Not many people seem to want to find helmet jellyfish.
Helmet jellyfish.
And if that jellyfish is another one. This is the helmet jellyfish, which basically looks like a see-through helmet. While the deep hysteria usually has no stinging cells, this one is unusual for its surprisingly large stinging cells.
شبیه بلوطه. دقت بکن اون سرشون تش.
And seeing one of these nearby is not good news for fishermen. The deep hysteria likes to eat the same fish which humans eat, like cod, haddock, and hake. As you can imagine, humans don't really enjoy eating this particular fish. The lifespan of these fish is also quite short. While most jellyfish only live for months, one of these can go on for 30 years. Their body size is 12 inches, about the size of a ruler, and are 90% water. Professor Mork at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology studying the effects of the booming jellyfish. They're very efficient predators, he says. The population can grow to huge sizes in relatively few years. And they eat the same food as the young stages of the commercial fishes. And in addition, they eat small and young stages of those competitors. These fish are found in almost every ocean and sea in the world, particularly in the Norwegian. Thankfully,
نروژ بیشتر هستن اینا.
It's not likely that you'll ever bump into one of these, as they'll be 2,700 meters underwater and don't
24 25 24 نمیدونم نشیدم.
like the light monkfish. While humans
monkfish
don't eat jellyfish, they certainly do eat
خدا
monkfish. It's even quite a delicacy.
نخورن.
It's often referred to as the poor man's lobster
نگاه
because
کن
of
بابا.
its similar taste
اینا
and
دیگه
much
میگن
cheaper
تو
price.
رفتیم تو
It
کار
costs roughly
وحشتناک.
$2 a pound. While it could cost $30 a pound for lobster, the Japanese also love
Ali.
nikimo, which is a sushi dish of the monkfish's liver. Their very broad
غذا
but
بود
skinny
دانشو.
heads are quite a sight to be seen. It usually swims along the bottom of the sea and can
کف
usually
دریا
blend in
هستن.
with
اون
its surroundings
زبونشه.
and pounce upon its
داشتم.
prey in disguise. Its face is often compared to a frog's, as in other
میگه
cultures this
دیفاشون هم
fish is
شبیه
known
قورباغه
as
است.
fishing frogs,
درسته.
frogfish, goosefish, and even
اون
sea
زبونه.
The monkfish is typically found in the North Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean.
شاورما فقط زبون دارن اینا. همش زبونه.
And in North Carolina, but don't worry about bumping into them. They travel at 200 meters underwater and sometimes down as far as a kilometer below the sea's wave. Hagfish. We're now moving on to something pretty darn terrifying. To put it gently, the hagfish is not very easy on the eye and looks more like a snake. There are a number of bizarre facts about these fish. For a start, they've not one but two hearts. Also,
دو تا قلب داره. یه دونه دو تا قلب داره.
So stringy that it can even tie itself in knots. These fish are not really known as predators and predominantly feast on the leftover carcasses of other fish. They don't exactly possess good table manners either. As Smithsonian Magazine put it, once they find their meal, they bury it into it face first to bore a tunnel deep into its flesh. This is because they're jawless fish and eat by piercing their teeth through the food. Their eating habits are incredibly strange. They can sometimes go up to months without food and they absorb nutrients through their skin. But the most fascinating aspect about this fish is its slime. Scientists believe that the slime from these fish is so stretchy that it could be used for tight and athletic wear. The fish use this slime to ward off predators and to stop other fish from potentially eating their food. If you attack this fish, it will produce this slippery slime and be able to break free of any predator's grip. And just when you thought that slime wasn't enough, here's some more fun facts. To prevent a breakup of this slime, this fish sneezes just like we do. It also sometimes deliberately ties itself in a knot to stop the slime from dripping onto its face. And just when you thought you'd like to forget that this creature ever existed, there's a hagfish day. This is on the third Wednesday of October every year, so make sure to mark that date down in your calendars. Ghost shark.
Ghost shark.
If you're afraid of ghosts and you're afraid
of
sharks, then you might not like the ghost shark. Well, technically, they're not sharks.
They're
a species of fish closely related to sharks and not very friendly creatures. The ghost part of the name is down to their scaly and ethereal quality, which gives it a ghost-like appearance. They live 400 to 2,000 feet deep into the sea. They're also called chimera, which is a fictional monster in Greek mythology with a goat's head, lion's body, and serpent's tail. Unlike sharks, they have tooth plates instead of real teeth. They have sharp upper jaw teeth plates and a flat lower jaw teeth plate. Their teeth don't fall out like a shark's, but actually continue to grow. Perhaps most bizarrely of all, they have retractable reproductive organs on their heads. And like the hagfish, this fish
این چیزشه جمجمشه حالا چه جوریه فکر کنم این دهنشه اینم مغزشه.
Fish also has its own day. October 30th is International Ghost Shark Day, which is fittingly very close to Halloween. Megamouth shark. Next up,
Megamouth shark.
We have the megamouth shark, and this time we have ourselves an actual shark. Imagine a shark.
یه شارک واقعا یه کوسه است ولی خب یکی دهن گنده. حالا ببینید.
It is bigger than its abdomen. The megamouth
واقعا همونه. خیلی گنده است.
1976 off the Hawaiian island of Oahu.
درش اینجوریه.
Became entangled in a parachute sea anchor of the U.S. vessel. It took another 8 years before the second one was found. There have only been 64 confirmed sightings of this. Unconfirmed sightings. The director at the Center for Sustainable Tropical Fisheries and Aquaculture told Australian Geographic They're believed to follow the deep scattering layer in the open ocean that's made up of plankton and associated organisms that migrate toward the surface at night and descend during the day. We know that they feed on krill, crustaceans, and jellyfish. However, it's important not to judge these sharks based on their looks. These sharks are surprisingly friendly and pose no real threat to humans.
اینه که اصلا به انسان کاری ندارن، خیلی فرندلی هن. روسیه فرندلی دیوشی اینه، انسان کاری ندارن.
Well, friendly by shark standards at least. Don't expect to cuddle from these guys. Barrel-eye fish.
barrel-eye fish. چه شیر اینجوریه؟
The barrel-eye fish gets its name from, you guessed it, its weird barrel-shaped eyes. The fish also
چرا اینجوریه؟ مثل اسمشون البته.
has a transparent head.
حالا برل میچی ولی خب
These are ambush predators. They'll stay perfectly still and then quickly pounce upon their prey.
مغزش معلومه.
These fish prey on jellies, other cephalopods, crustaceans, and zooplankton. You'll find these sea creatures 2,600 feet in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. Its big tubular eyes help it see underwater. Also, its transparent head means that the fish
به خاطر این چشم میتونه زیر دریا رو هم داخل اون عمق دریا رو ببینه.
Upwards too. The two holes on its head.
شبیه زیر دریایی علنا. به غیر از بالاشو قیچی کنی خود زیر دریاییه. اینجا فکر کن شیشه زدی اونجا بگم.
More like a nose. This fish is one of the newest discoveries to scientists and wasn't a confirmed species until 2000.
ماهیه که پیدا کردن توی 2024.
Pacific football fish.
Pacific football fish.
Pacific football fish is one of the few species on this earth which we've never seen alive. Just 31 of these things have been found in the past 100 years. They look absolutely terrifying.
واقعا خیلی ترسناکه.
Was put into their name. They're usually found in the Pacific.
چرا اصلا نگاه کن تمام اینو چی هم؟ اینجام که یه لامپی اون بالا کلشون.
They're in the shape of a football. They also have bulbs on their heads, which is helpful as they travel deep into the dark parts of the ocean.
با همون نوری که اون بالا کلشه چراغی که اون بالا کلشه تو اون زیر دریا راحت میرن.
The women do all the hunting, and the males are sexual parasites as they fuse themselves to the females. But there's still so much about these guys that we don't know. William Luck, the natural history museum, told alldhatchinteresting.com, we don't know a lot about even the basics of how they live. There's still just all these questions. And I think that's what makes it really fascinating, especially to study these deeper water species that occur just out in the open ocean. There's these basic
خیلی چیزا هستش که ما تو این دنیا اصلا هیچی نمیدونیم. مثلا الان یه سیاره نهم پیدا شده. 8 سیاره بودیم دیگه. 7 یا 8 نمیدونم. یه سیاره جدید پیدا شده. آخری کدومه؟ یه سیاره جدید بعد از اون پیدا شده. 9 تا فهمین داخل همین منظومه شمسی خیلی دورتر از این سیاره‌ای که الان دور و بر ما هستن.
Know about them. We don't really know what they eat. We don't know much about their reproduction systems. Japanese spider crabs.
Japanese spider crab.
Okay, so if you have a fear of spiders and crabs,
اگر از اسپایدر میترسین، تو عنکبوت.
Maybe look away. The Japanese spider crab, as you can see, is a crab with spider-like shape, as the name suggests.
رضا بلوری، رزیوس، این برای خودته.
Yes, these are mainly found along the Japanese coast, but it doesn't have 8 legs.
داخل دریا هم هستن.
This crab has 8 legs for walking and 2 at the front to hunt.
8 تا پا داره، 2 تا هم دست که جلوشه.
One of the strangest facts about these creatures is that once they're an adult, their body stops growing, but their legs continue to grow. Its main body is about 12 inches, which is the size of a ruler. Legs, however, can span up to 12 times that, 12 feet from claw to claw. The biggest ever Japanese spider crab was found in 2009. It was a male with a 12-foot-long span and weighed 4 pounds. They decided to call this truly terrifying creature Crabzilla. And it's now housed
فکر کنید اینا گنده بودن بزرگتر از انسان‌ها بودن چه بلایی سرم بود
in a sea life center in the Netherlands. Sloan's viperfish. Our next fish is one of the fiercest predators in the sea. Their large fang-like teeth are so
خیلی بلنده درازه کلش اینجوریه دندونش تا بالا چشش اومده
even able to fit inside their mouths. In fact, when it has its teeth closed, the mouth becomes a sort of cage for the prey trapped inside. It also has a light organ, which instead of seeing through the dark, it uses to lure prey. don't be fooled
آقا
by
این چیه؟ این تش چیه؟ این ریشه؟ این داستان چیه؟ این میشه این تریشه؟ تریش که نمیشه بگی. از این چیز پاکوناه اینجا میذارن. فکر کنم مال اینه. فقط بلندش کرده.
small size. When it spots its prey, it unhinges its skull.
به خدا قشنگ نگاه کن.
Uses to lure prey.
بعد نگاه کن قشنگ اینجاش بسته.
Be fooled by its small size. When it spots its prey, it
به خدا نگاه قشنگ اینجاش هم بسته.
unhinges its skull. It can open its jaw up to 90 degrees. Then it expands its stomach to the extent that it can swallow prey 60% the size of itself. Again, this fish goes down deep in the ocean. There's only so much we know about them. Sarcastic fringehead.
Sarcastic fringehead.
Not often that you would call a fish sarcastic fringehead. It got given the label sarcastic because of its incredibly aggressive nature.
یه سوال دارم. چشم فقط چشم اینجاست. چشه این اینجاست. این رفت این ور. برو این چیه؟
It actually uses
یا بسپس.
and open and closes its mouth to
یا خدا ببین چیکار میکنی اینو؟ الان لب میگیرم با هم. What the fuck?
The fish features in David Attenborough's Animal Planet. He explains that these fish are exceptionally quarrelsome, but they have to be to defend their living space. They're not only aggressive when hunting, but they're incredibly territorial. When two males are fighting over territory, they wrestle and lock mouths against each other and ironically look like they're kissing.
آره دقیقا میگی وقتی این دهنو باز میکنم به هم نظمه اینه بوس کردن میمونه.
Males are quite selective, so the males are incredibly competitive against one another. The winning male stays put while the loser has to find somewhere else to live. They're only 12 inches high, so again, these are about the same height as a ruler.
چیزایی که ما ندیدیم.
Anglerfish.
Anglerfish. آخر ماهی که دامتون نشون میده همینه.
So if none of the creatures so far have given you nightmares yet, our last throw of the dice is the anglerfish. It's quite possibly the ugliest animal on the entire planet. Their enormous mouths, bulging
یکی اون که خیلی ترسناک بود و خیلی چیش میگن حال به همزن بود. بعدیش اینه.
eyes and crescent-shaped teeth are not the easiest on the eye to put it lightly. This fish lives completely in the dark and lives 1,500 meters below the sea. It cannot see anything underwater, so it uses its fin rays to sense movement. But the fish doesn't need great eyesight, as it simply lures its prey to itself. The snout looks like a worm, so monkfish and
دهنو فکو نگاه. به سرایی که می اینجا فک میکن نگاه شبیتونه. نگاه کن اینا رفته کاشته. دیجل چیکار میکنید این همونه.
frogfish swim over to it. And then the angler simply pounces and devours its prey. The male anglerfish is parasitic to the females, or as Mental Floss describes it, he's kind of a deadbeat boyfriend. While mating, the male attaches itself to the female and bites her and draws up nutrients from
این چیه؟ این خیلی فرق میکنه.
basically spends his entire life latching onto
الان این چیه؟ اون چیه؟ این دومه این یکی چیه؟
his girlfriend and fertilizing her eggs. And like most of the fish on this list, there's only so much we know about them. There are only 14 in total dead anglerfish in natural history museums across the world. One professor of biology in New York told Live Science.
ما قبل تاریخ انا که زندن اینجوریان. یعنی ما قبل دایناسورها این داستانا هم مال اون زمانا.
Sometimes they're caught and they have whole fish in their stomachs. If you touch the stomachs, it's quite squishy, for a lack of a better term. And now we've reached the end of today's video. Do you reckon that you'd like to go scuba diving?
بازم مرسی که این ویدیو تماشا کردین. اگه دوست داشتین از این ویدیو براتون بزنم حتما این ویدیو رو لایک کنین، کامنت رو بهم بگین و اینکه دوستتون دارم. ماچ به کلی سیکسیتون همتون، دختر پسرم نداره. تا ویدیو دیگه و ماجراهای دیگه مو بنده شما رو به خدای بزرگ میسپارم.